Episode 1 of Ahsoka sets up the premise with much exposition, for it's been a while since fans were presented with a Star Wars show that departs from the original lore. A ship of the New Republic is moving through space when the crew picks up an unknown ship that's using a Jedi code. When the captain allows the unknown ship to board, two hooded figures emerge, and they're none other than Baylan Kroll and his apprentice, Shin Hati. The mysterious arrivals unsheath lightsabers and slice through the crew on board before rescuing Morgan Elsbeth. Those who've stuck around since The Mandalorian remember how Ahsoka defeated Morgan and arrested her. The ship was supposed to deliver Morgan to face trial, but before long, the crew is decimated, and the convict is freed, whose first concern is retrieving the map that shall lead her to Admiral Thrawn. However, she's not alone in the pursuit, and her arch-rival Ahsoka Tano also has the same goal. We meet our heroine, Ahsoka, as she strolls through a deserted, sandy patch with large obelisks forming a weird circle. With a swift spin with her dual lightsabers, Ahsoka slashes the ground, descends into the underground, and follows a set of puzzles to unearth a carved sphere. This little ball contains details about her nemesis Thrawn's location, but Ahsoka barely gets time to catch her breath as she's surrounded by droids outside the underground chamber. A Jedi trained by none other than Anakin Skywalker, Ahsoka slices through the machines with ease and leaps onto the ship driven by her trusted droid, Huyang, as the hostile droids self-destruct. Ahsoka meets up with Hera Syndulla, the pilot of the ghost ship and an invaluable member of the Lothal Rebellion, and shares the contents of the map she's just retrieved. Inside the map are details about Thrawn, although Hera finds it odd that the Admiral might still be breathing. This is also where Ezra is mentioned, and for context, we change scenes to Lothal. While the citizens of Lothal gather to commemorate the memories of the crew of Ghost, especially Ezra Bridger, believed to have been killed in the Battle of Lothal, Sabine Wren is missing. Sabine, an important member of the crew, is racing in her speeder to her small home, where she plays a recording of Ezra, someone she'd come to see as her brother. Ahsoka's arrival changes the mood, as she announces that there's a chance Ezra might be alive, but to get to him, Ahsoka needs her former apprentice's help. However, tensions run high between the two women until Huyang comes bearing important news. Having analyzed the lightsabers used in the New Republic's ship, the droid concludes that one of the weapons belongs to Baylan Skoll, a skilled Jedi who fell out of the loop after the Clone Wars ended. Ahsoka hands Sabine the map and implores her to solve the puzzle so that they can head for Thrawn, and by extension, Ezra's location, at the earliest. But when has a direct order by a superior that's been given with a lot of thought ever been followed by their less experienced and immature counterpart? Of course, Sabine takes off with the map and heads to her home in the middle of nowhere, away from the safety of the Imperial building. Using her brilliance, Sabine discovers the correct way to open the sphere, which gives a 3D image of entire galaxies with clues as to where Thrawn might be located. Like clockwork, she's ambushed by two droids, and while she manages to finish one, the other steals the map and ensures to destroy every machine in Sabine's workplace to remove every record. By the time Sabine catches up to the thieving droid, she's faced with Shin Hati, standing with her own lightsaber. Armed with her brother Ezra's lightsaber, Sabine faces off against the intruder who stands between her and the quest of seeking out her brother. A fight ensues, and Shin quickly begins gaining on the former apprentice of Ahsoka Tano, who's heading towards the scene of the duel. However, she's a little too late, and Shin drives her red laser through Sabine's gut before fleeing with the map as the ghost member collapses on the ground. The map with details about Thrawn's whereabouts was stolen by Skoll's apprentice, Shin, and she'll now be heading back to her master and Morgan with the newly discovered piece of the puzzle. Sabine lies on a bed in the medical wing of Lothal as Ahsoka Tano and Hera hover over her while the nurse droids try treating her. Upset that she failed to decipher the data that the map held before the enemy droid stole it, Sabine has a hard time looking her former master Ahsoka in the eyes. Not only has the map, the only way to track Admiral Thrawn as well as Ezra Bridger, fallen into enemy hands, but the droids have also destroyed any of the remaining equipment in Sabine's home, making it impossible for them to retrace the clues she'd found from the map. Ahsoka heads back to the place where the droids stole the map and meets Sabine's loth cat, which mews nervously. Moments later, the creature shrieks as a previously hidden droid launches a surprise attack on Ahsoka. However, the surprise is futile, and she barely flinches while decapitating the machine and proceeds to bring back the severed head to Sabine. This is a field the former Ghost crew excels at, and she's quickly able to hack the droid circuits because they're still connected to their source, even if they're killed. However, if the procedure isn't finished quickly, a certain meter on the head might reach the tipping point, resulting in a catastrophic explosion. As the droid Huyang starts panicking with the growing meter pointing the way to impending destruction, Sabine asks for more time. With mere seconds left before the entire area is blown to bits, Huyang disconnects the droid as Sabine declares triumphantly that the droids have arrived from a shipyard registered under the New Republic. This discovery is a bit confusing because, after the fall of the Empire, it's believed that every New Republic member gave up pursuing evil across the galaxy. However, Ahsoka isn't satisfied, and she takes Hera with her to check out the said shipyard, although she refuses to take Sabine with her, much to the latter's chagrin. Ahsoka leaves with the typical, "You've done enough," a dual-edged verbal sword that pierces Sabine, still smarting because she'd refused to listen to Ahsoka in the previous episode. Even though she's just helped them find an important clue by taking a massive risk, she can't help but feel that they wouldn't be in this mess if it weren't for her stubbornness. Moreover, her stomach wound hasn't healed yet, so she lacks the confidence to follow her former teacher into trouble. However, for now, Sabine only has herself to blame. When Hera and Ahsoka reach the shipyard, there's palpable tension, as the surveyor of the area looks rather uncomfortable with a Jedi poking around. When the women go into the main office and start inquiring about the shipments in the last few days, the crew is completely silent, except for a few furtive glances at the new arrivals. A service droid mistakenly mentions that an HK assassin droid has been spotted very recently, and it had a high security clearance, so it couldn't be logged. What's more, the assassin is leaving the shipyard at that very moment in a ship, and despite Hera's repeated orders to shut the droid down, the crew refuses to comply. Realizing that the inspecting women might expose their secrets, the crew members launch an attack on them, but Hera and Ahsoka quickly put them down. Ahsoka leaps down the window and is faced with an Inquisitor and his droid, and the enemies put up a tough fight. Meanwhile, Hera gets on her trusted ship and begins chasing the vessel that's escaping the shipyard, which now begins shooting at the pursuing Hera. Although Ahsoka is able to decimate the droid with her lightsaber skills, the Inquisitor is a tougher opponent. Before the Togruta warrior can do any effective damage to the new Empire loyalist, a ship comes to his rescue, and Shin steps out to help him up. He uses force to get his lightsaber back, indicating that the loyalist possesses force powers, making him a formidable opponent. On the other side of things, Hera is giving a tough chase to the escaping vessel while communicating with her droid chopper to find a tracker. Just as the fleeing ship nears the warp point, Hera is able to eject a tracker onto the ship, thereby ensuring they can now track the ship no matter where it flees to. Back at the shipyard, the loyalists, including the supervisor, are arrested, and Ahsoka explains that it's just greed that makes people sell their dignity to the Empire. Back in Lothal, Sabine stares into the distance after having a rather thought-provoking talk with the droid Huyang. Uncharacteristic of the droid, Huyang provides intriguing things for her to ponder, the basis of which is that one has to forge their own path instead of waiting for handouts. Sabine had spent years hoping that Ahsoka would take her on as her apprentice, but it was time that she took control of her life. She goes back to her little home and unearths her old Mandalorian gear. When Ahsoka returns to Lothal, Sabine meets her in full Mandalorian gear with smartly trimmed short hair. Before boarding Ahsoka's ship, she touches the picture of Ezra drawn on the wall, thus indicating the strength of her bond with the brother she hopes is still alive. The sweetest portion is probably when Ahsoka refers to Sabine as Padawan, showing she's accepted the youngster as her trainee once more, hopefully for good this time. However, the enemies aren't sitting idle while the good guys sift through clues. Baylan Skoll and Shin bring the map to Morgan Elsbeth as she stands in a mystical place and uncovers the map's ability to explore the galaxy where Thrawn is. She can hear her master's voice and tells Skoll that he's calling to her. Skoll responds to Shin by saying that if the plan works, they will know power like they've never known it before. Later, as Ahsoka speeds through space to reach the enemies, Morgan asks Skoll if he can sense the oncoming Jedi. Although Ahsoka has masked her movements as a skilled Jedi, he can still sense her determination reverberating, and Morgan suggests killing her. Skoll, however, isn't very pleased with the prospect, and he reasons that not too many Jedi survive at present. This isn't him being sentimental, however, but just being truthful. The last time Morgan faced Ahsoka, she had a Beskar spear, and yet she was defeated by Ahsoka's lightsabers and sent to prison. There's no guarantee that the next time Ahsoka meets her, she won't uproot the problem by ending Morgan's life for good. Besides, Ahsoka's survival means Thrawn will always have someone gunning for him. So in every way, Ahsoka is bad news for Morgan, and she can't wait to get rid of the nuisance. This can be chalked up to her being a weaker fighter than the protagonist and also because the Empire is on its last legs at the moment and won't be able to survive a head-on attack. The Republic can be greatly harmed if a soldier like Ahsoka can be taken out, so Morgan is definitely better off with her death. What happens to her plans, though? We'll know in the next episode. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and I hope you enjoyed the episodes of Ahsoka.